After a mixed start to the season, Monaco could have been forgiven for feeling somewhat apprehensive ahead of a trip to take on free-scoring Paris Saint-Germain. It was the visitors who would take the lead. Monaco breaking, Kevin Volland played in and making no mistake with his finish. His fourth goal against PSG, somewhat surprisingly the team he scored the most against. It would be his last action of the game though, having injured himself in the process. PSG would push for an equaliser, Leo Messi and Kylian Mbappe both striking the woodwork in quick succession. It would eventually come in the second half via a belated penalty, courtesy of VAR's intervention. Neymar, the man brought down, and the man to take the spot kick. The trademark stutter, and the familiar result of the ball hitting the back of the net. 1-1 the final score. PSG lose their 100% record, but keep their unbeaten one and remain top of the table. Marseille squared off against rivals Nice as they looked to extend their unbeaten start to 4 matches, and they made the perfect start. Jonathan Clauss finding Alexis Sanchez free in the box, and the Chilean making no mistake for his first goal in French football. Kasper Schmeichel rooted to the spot. And soon after, the lead would be doubled. Matteo Guendouzi on the left, laying it off for Nuno Tavares, and the 22-year-old firing an excellent shot in off the near post from range. The Arsenal connection working wonders, former and loanee. Having waited a few games for his first goal in Marseille colours, it didn't take Sanchez long to double up. Schmeichel parrying an effort from Tavares again. Home's new number 70 pouncing to make it 3-0. Nice's tough start to the season continues. Marseille rise to second. Two of last season's form sides met in Saturday's late game as Lens hosted Rennes. It was the home side who have been in the far better form so far this season, and after a quiet first half, they would take the lead thanks to a brilliant strike from their captain Fantastic. Lee will now just have to hope that he stays in red and gold, uncertainty remaining around his future. Whatever worries they might have about their captain's future, the Lens faithful would surely have no worries about the result, when 4 minutes later they doubled their lead. Florian Sotoka with a defence-splitting pass. Joe Rodon getting in a bit of a mess, allowing Loïs Openda to make it 2-0. Rennes would get a consolation in stoppage time as substitute Gaëtan Laborde showed good tenacity and fired into the roof of the net. Very even game on paper, 51% possession versus 49, 499 passes each, but Lens one better off in the one statistic that counts. Matchday 4 also saw Reims still after their first victory of the season when they hosted undefeated Lyon. The hosts have a surprisingly strong record against Ligue, and it would be they who opened the scoring early on. Maxime Bouzy's cross headed in by Junya Ito, Japanese forward's first goal in French football, becoming the third Japanese player to score in the top flight. The equaliser would come over an hour of play later. Good work by Ryan Cherki to buy some space on the right, and then across the match, which was headed home by substitute Moussa Dembélé. 8 Ligue 1 Uber Eats goals in a row he scored in. Lyon content to rescue a point late on. Brest likely would have taken one if offered beforehand, under the circumstances disappointed. Two sides who'd put together surprisingly impressive starts to the season met as Lorient took on Clermont. It was Les Merlus who made the more impressive start to this game, being handed a penalty as Neto Bourges clumsily brought down Dango Ouattara. Terran Moffi calmly dispatching down the middle as Mori Dior dived out of the way. They capped off a strong first half by doubling their advantage just before the break. Moffi picking up the ball in his own half, skipping past 2 defenders. Too much time to think? No such problem as he rounded Dior to roll the ball into an empty net. Into the second half, where despite a numerical disadvantage after Bourges picked up a second yellow, Clermont surprisingly pulled one back against the run of play as Mohamed Cham found the bottom corner. It proved to be just a consolation though, as the hosts saw out the game with relative ease to confirm a victory that sees them climb into the top 5. AJACCIO and Lille got the weekend's action underway on Friday evening, both teams looking to bounce back from defeats. It was Les Dogs who got off to the better start as Yusuf YAZICI produced a bit of magic. Turkish midfielder anticipating the awkward clearance, flicking it over his head and smashing home on the volley. True piece of Turkish delight. From there, they pushed on. Good work from Ismaili on the left. Getting a lucky bounce, but then driving into the box, cutting the ball inside to Jonathan Bamba, who turned and found the bottom corner. To the second half, and it was 3. Free kick in from the left, half cleared, but another sweet volley, this time from Tiago DJALO. 6 minutes remaining, the hosts would at least get a consolation. Scramble in the box, part cleared, another scramble, eventually headed home by Cyril Bayala. 3-1 at the final whistle. First meeting between the pair since 2014, one that ended very similarly to those of a decade ago. Strasbourg were still searching for their first victory of the season when they made the trip to AUXERRE. Benoit Costil was called into action for the first time by Jean-Ric Bellegarde. Decent strike from the edge of the area, the keeper equal to it. Somewhat against the run of play, it would be the hosts who took the lead. Lassin Sinioko showing good strength and then finding a great pass between the Racing defence. One touch and the finish from Gaëtan Perrin. 1-0 the final score. The hunt for victory goes on for Strasbourg, who drop into the bottom 5. Auxerre continue to love life in the top flight. Brest were looking to clinch consecutive victories when a Montpellier team who'd suffered consecutive defeats visited Brittany. It was the underdogs who would take the lead after just 5 minutes. Feitou Mawassa carrying the ball from well inside his own half and then sliding it under Marco Bizot. 5 minutes later, the lead was doubled. A long ball from the back to Wabi Kazri on the left. And the number 99 whipping in a cross that was brilliantly diverted in by Wahi. Teenager who assisted the opener getting on the score sheet himself. Pretty much straight from the kickoff there will be another. Fellow Sacco stealing the ball and feeding Kazri, who held off the defender and found the bottom corner. Once again, the man who assisted the previous goal scoring the next. And it wouldn't take long before it was 4. Mawassa with a corner from the right, flicked on and turned in basically on the goal line by Nicolas Cossa. As the clock ticked past the half-hour mark, they would have their 5th. Ball over the top, releasing Wahi. Lobbed the outrushing Bizot, only to see the ball come back off the post. But the second time of asking, hit the net. 2 for Wahi, 5 for Montpellier. Things got worse with a red card for Pierre-Lise Melou, and the numerical advantage made to count just after the hour mark. Substitute Valère-Germain getting in on the act with a cheeky flick. There would be one more. The week after Paris Saint-Germain scored 7 against Lille, Valère-Germain would make it 7 for La Paillade. The club switching emotions after the results last week. Montpellier 7th heaven, Brest had been through hell. After taking 2 points from their opening 3 games, Nantes were looking to take their first win of the season at the 4th attempt when they hosted Toulouse. It was the visitors who opened the scoring. Ball over the top, and Zakaria Abouklal showing good strength and a finish to match. Whatever Antoine Combore said at half-time, it worked. 5 minutes into the second half, Moses Simon fizzing in a cross that Evan Guesson turned home. And 5 minutes later, the turnaround was complete. Guesson on the right, and the goal scorer, turning provider, with an excellent cross that was equally excellently turned home by substitute Mustafa Mohamed. Another 5 minutes, it was 3-1. Ball chested on by Mohamed and flicked into the roof of the net by Simon. Nantes do get their first win, but remain narrowly below Toulouse, courtesy of goals scored. Troyes and Angers were both looking for their first win of the season, the former even for the first points of the season. It was ESTAC who took the lead though. A pinpoint free kick from Ronnie Lopez, met with an even better header from Renaud Ripard. Visitors' task made harder still when Baptiste Mendy earned himself a very early bath after 20 minutes, and the ensuing pressure from Troyes would eventually pay as Tieno Belde found the bottom right corner. Perhaps resting on their laurels slightly, the hosts let their guard down and saw their buffer halved just 5 minutes later as Loïs Diony found the net. Little Gallon could do with a deflected shot. That buffer was soon restored though, as 17-year-old Wilson Audebert turned in at the far post for his first ever professional goal. The winners finally get their first points on the board and in the process move out of the drop zone to be replaced by Angers. So 33 goals across the 10 games, not quite as many as last week's 38, thanks largely to PSG for once not getting close to double figures. In fact, it was the surprise candidate of Montpellier who took on that mantle. Despite only drawing, Les Parisiens remain top of the table courtesy of their impressive goal difference, but now level on 10 points with Marseille and Lens. Lyon and Lorient, surprisingly the pair to complete the European places, despite having played one fewer. Ajaccio's back-to-back defeats combined with ESTAC's win sees the former drop to the bottom of the table, with Nice the big surprise in this season's enhanced relegation zone. Matchday 5 will see all 10 teams play this Wednesday. Les Aiglons will have to beat Lille away from home if they are to find their elusive first win, whilst Toulouse will face the toughest task yet upon their return to the top flight with a visit from the champions.